Hi! If you're thinking about buying a Chinese mini lathe and have not done it yet, this video is for you. In the short review, I'll tell you what to look out for and help you make the right choice. A few years ago, my job was closely connected with working on metal lathe. I wasn't a professional machinist, but I had to make parts and I made them. At work, we had a small but professional machine weighing about 300 kg. I never thought about what kind of lathe it was. It was just there and it worked quite well. About a year and a half ago, I felt the lack of a hobby. I started searching online and accidentally stumbled upon a small metal lathe on a Chinese marketplace for $600. I thought, that's awesome, I can buy a lathe for so cheap and I have fun with it however I want. At that moment I remembered those cool videos of cutting tool, grinding into the material, leaving behind the mirror finish. What are you doing? Just trying to buy a Chinese mini lathe. It is cheap and looks pretty good. Don't buy that. All of them absolutely. You should buy my 60-year-old grandpa's lathe. It weighs 1,000 kilo and you need a special workshop for it. You just need some repairs and a bit of scraping and then it will work. It's too heavy, isn't it? Heavy is good. Heavy is reliable. If it doesn't work, you can hit him with it. So, I watched literally a million YouTube videos about guys buying Chinese mini lathes. Some said it was a great purchase, others said it is not bad, while some presented it as an absolutely essential tool for any maker. And others spent months upgrading theirs, trying to make it perform well. Such mixed reviews raised the question in my mind, why are their options are so different? First of all, don't ever think about buying this kind of thing. These aren't lathes, these are toys. You won't be able to make a real metal part on them. So, let's figure out of the classification. In my view, mini lathe is a machine you can move from one room to another by yourself. I won't be talking here about machines weighing more than 80 kilograms. Let's divide the mini lathe into three groups. First, expensive high-quality lathes. Their price can be $5,000 or $7,000. They are precise, very well made. If you can afford it, that's the best choice. The second one, machines with a local brand but made in China. For example, for the European market it is a Holtzmann HBM Polymod. Price range can be $1,000 or $2,000. The third one, purely Chinese machines without a brand or with a Chinese brand. For example, Reworks. Price range can be $600 or $1,200. We won't discuss the first category. It is clear, those are quality but very expensive. Let's talk about the second and third. We have often seen claims that if a lathe is made in China, there is no difference wherever you buy it, under a Chinese brand for the $700 or under a local brand for $1,200. You'll just overpay for the brand. I assure you that is completely wrong. A local brand in your country tries to ensure quality and provide a warranty. They don't want returns or negative reviews. They're more likely to take the machine back if something goes wrong. Chances are high you'll get a properly machined parts and quality angular roller bearings with a certified accuracy class like P5 or at least P6. But local brands usually lag behind in development. For example, you can buy a Chinese lathe with a 45 or even 50 mm spindle diameter and 125 mm chuck and a 38 mm bore. But I couldn't find that from local brands. They offered a 30 mm spindle, a 21 mm bore and 100 mm chuck. It's a less rigid spindle, but still workable. Also, a Chinese machine might come with a brushless motor, while a local brand machine could still have an old-style brushed motor. But honestly, this is not a big deal. Both types works fine. Completely Chinese lathes are very likely assembled from rejected parts and can be really bad. It is a total lottery. You might get lucky and receive a decent machine, but you might also get a wreck, something impossible to work on or upgrade because every component is a poor quality. Returning it can be difficult or expensive. All manufacturers save money everywhere you can see. For example, they might use bearings without any precision class at all. Even ordinary ball bearings that kills rigidity. The result something like this. Parts may be unfinished where you can't see, making upgrades impossible. For example, the lathe bed underslide may be unfinished, so you can't add adjustable clamp bars, which is the most important upgrade for this lathe. The factory may forget to harden the bed to save on production. The spindle might be bent, pulleys might be misaligned and so on. Look at the tool post. Is that aluminum? I can't say 100%, but why that color? I suspect the compound slide is also aluminum. Remember, there should never be aluminum in these parts. It's just another way to cut costs making a part from press. Another point. Look how the tailstock sits on an 80mm bed. Do you see the gaps? That's very bad. Now look at how it sits on a 100mm bed in my case. Do you see the difference? I've seen a few reviews where the sellers ship the wrong model. I can't say if it is international or accidental, but somehow, when it happens, the delivered machine is always lower class and worse quality than the ordered. If it were truly random, sometimes more expensive machines would get sent instead. But no. So the buyer has no choice but to open a dispute and get a partial refund, because sending it back is too hard and costly. And there are many such examples. You've probably seen them on forums or in reviews. If you own one of these machines, leave a comment about where you find the magic cost cutting in yours. Or maybe yours is fine. I think that would be useful for everyone. Let's talk about the machine sizes. They may be listed in inches or millimeters, it doesn't matter. 180 by 350, 210 by 400, 210 by 600 and so on. The first number is the swing over bed, the second is the length of the workpiece, but these are theoretical. The carriage and cross slide reduce swing, and left center in the tailstock reduce usable length. For example, the real max length in my 210 by 400 lathe is 300mm, and the max workpiece diameter is about 130mm, if it is a cylinder, not a flat disc. Here is what is important. These lathes come with only two bed widths. Look at the picture. Do you see the difference? This is a 180 by 350 lathe with bed with one prism. It has a width 80mm. And this is a 210 by 400 lathe bed with two prisms. It has width of 100mm. It's much more rigid. Rigidity is one of the most important parameters. Beds on 210 by 400 and 210 by 800 are the same, only the latter is longer. So to sum up, if you need a lathe for aluminium and plastics with accuracy of 0.1mm and you don't plan to upgrade it, buy whatever you want. They all work the same degree. If you want to cut steel also, absolutely avoid 80mm beds. Choose 100mm. If you don't want to play the quality lottery, go for a local brand. Yes, it costs more, but warranty and quality control are absolutely worth it. Even though it is still a Chinese machine, but it will let you upgrade later and improve accuracy and rigidity. It's fun and rewarding process. Even without upgrades, such a machine will work far better than purely Chinese brand machine. If you think paying extra for a local brand is just throwing money away, you are very mistaken. So if you want high precision and quality without upgrades, be ready to spend $5,000, $6,000, $7,000. I didn't want to gamble, so I bought a local brand lathe. Even stock it works very well. But I knew from the start I would upgrade it for more rigidity and accuracy. This isn't just a piece of steel. It is 42 chromium molybdenum steel, 20mm in diameter. What do you think will happen if I cut 2mm of the diameter at 1000 RPM? Let's check. How I achieved this result, I will tell you another time. That's a story for another video. Honestly, in this video I just wanted to point out the hidden cost-cutting choices that lead to awful result and which you must avoid. Also, I wanted to say that not all Chinese lathes are equally Chinese. Paying extra for a local brand is more than justified. I hope this video was useful for you. I wish you good luck choosing a lathe and lots of enjoyment using it. Bye!